hyoid bone. Today's demo. See, there is a introductory part regarding this hyoid bone. It is U-shaped bone or horseshoe-shaped bone. It is present in axial in front of the neck region. It is situated in the midline anteriorly of the neck between the chin and the thyroid cartilage. See in this diagram, you can see this hyoid bone in front of the neck between the chin of the mandible and the hyoid cartilage below. The hyoid bone is an irregular type of the bone. But one more question is raised. Is it sesamoid bone? No. In the neck, although the hyoid bone is a free-floating, but it is not technically a sesamoid bone. Remember that it is irregular type of the bone. All sesamoid bones form directly from the connective tissue found in the tendons and the ligaments. The hyoid bone formed from the cartilaginous precursors like most other bones in the body. Now, see the function of the hyoid bone. The hyoid bone helps to support the tongue, and it serves as an attachment point for the several muscles that help to elevate the larynx during the swallowing and the speech. See, there is hyoid bone. In the diagram, you can see this hyoid bone, which is suspended in position. It's suspended by muscles and the ligaments are there. There is a attachment to the floor of the mouth and the tongue above, to the larynx below, the pharynx behind. So this hyoid bone is suspended by the muscles and the ligaments. There is an attachment to the floor of the mouth and to the tongue above and the larynx below and the epiglottis and the pharynx below. Then the position of the hyoid bone, basically the rest in position. The hyoid bone lies at the level of the third cervical vertebra. Now see, in early stages of life, the hyoid bone is placed at the inferior edge of the mandible border. But with the aging process, it gradually descends and next it fixes to the fourth cervical vertebrae level. Thus, we can say the position of the hyoid bone is differ. It change in the body gesture, head position, and the other physiological states. So you remember that the only this in a rest position, it lies at the third cervical vertebrae, but at the moment of the head position, change in position, it lies different position also in other physiological states. Now, when you dissect in front of the neck, already we have dissected the neck region. We have seen the muscles. The hyoid bone is seen. See in this dissection portion, anteriorly this hyoid bone is seen, and above and below there is a muscle attachment is there. So from anteriorly, the position is like this. You have seen already in the dissection hall when you dissected the anterior of the neck. Now see, this hyoid bone is a special, unique bone. So what is the unique in hyoid bone? The hyoid bone is only bone in humans that does not articulate with any other bone, but only has muscular, ligamentous and cartilaginous attachment is there. So this is unique of the hyoid bone. The hyoid bone is not articulate with any other bone. There is a only attachment is there, muscular attachment, ligamentous attachment and cartilaginous attachment is there. Now see this part of the hyoid bone. We have seen the hyoid bone location. It is present in front or anterior of the neck between the chin and the larynx. The C anteriorly, we see the quadrangular area, broader area, that is a body, and posteriorly, which one is irregular cylindrical portion runs, that is greater horn or cornea, and at the junction of it, we see there is a lesser horn. So part of the hyoid bone are the body, greater horn or cornea, and lesser horn or cornea. From lateral view also you can see the body, lesser horn and the greater horn is there. The body is quadrilateral and it is stretched laterally and irregular in shape. It has anterior surface and posterior surface. The anterior surface is convex and directed forward and upward in direction. On the anterior surface, we see there is a crossed by the transverse line in upper part, and there is a vertical median ridge present on the anterior surface, which divides this anterior surface into the two halves. So this is anterior surface is convex, directed forward and upward in direction, and presents the features are there is a transverse line and there is a vertical median ridge is there. On posterior surface is directed backward and downwards, which one is a concave. So posterior surface is concave and directed backward and downward in direction. On each lateral end, it is continuous backward or posteriorly with a greater horn or cornea. So body has two surfaces, anterior surface and the posterior surface, and continuation posteriorly as a greater cornea. This anterior surface is convex, directed forward and upward. There is a identification presenting mark or seen there is a transverse line in upper part and there is a vertical median ridge is seen. Posterior surface is concave and directed backward and downwards is there. Now greater cornea, it is flattened portion. It tapers posteriorly and ends as a tubercle. The greater cornea has two surfaces, upper and the lower, and it has the two borders, medial and lateral, and one tubercle is there. So these are the features of the greater cornea. Flattened portion, it is tapered posteriorly, it has the upper and the lower surface, and it has the medial and lateral border and a tubercle. These are the features of the greater cornea. Now see this lesser cornea, it is a conical projection of the bone. The projection is directed upward from the junction of the body and the greater cornea, that is lesser cornea. The lesser cornea are connected to the body and the fibrous tissue. And here the styloid ligament is attached to the tip of the lesser corn. Now see, there is a muscle attachment to the hyoid bone. Basically, there is a above the hyoid bone, muscles are present, and the below the hyoid bone, muscles are present. This group is called above group of the muscle is called suprahyoid muscles, and the below one muscles group is called infrahyoid muscles are there. There are the suprahyoid muscles, the digastric muscle, stylohyoid muscle, geniohyoid muscle, and mylohyoid muscle is present. And below the hyoid bone, that is infrahyoid muscle group, these are the thyrohyoid muscle, omohyoid muscle, and sternohyoid muscle. We'll see this one by one. So in this diagram, you can see the suprahyoid muscle group. Here in first diagram, you can see the blue color, that is a geniohyoid muscle is there. The green color, that is a digastric. Digastric muscle has two bellies, anterior belly and the posterior belly. And the red color muscle indicates that is a mylohyoid muscle, and yellow color there is a stylohyoid muscle is there. So from the front view, we can identify the geniohyoid muscle, digastric, anterior belly and posterior belly, stylohyoid, and the mylohyoid muscle. These are the suprahyoid muscle groups are there. From lateral view, also you can see these all these muscles. There is a digastric anterior and posterior belly, stylohyoid muscle, and the mylohyoid muscle is there. Now see one by one, this first muscle, that is geniohyoid muscle. Earlier demo we have seen this mandible. There is the inner surface of the mandible opposite to the symphysis opposite to the mentae, mandibular mentae. There is a genial tubercle are there, superior genial tubercle and inferior genial tubercle. From this inferior genial tubercle, the genioid muscle arises and it goes to the hyoid bone on the front of the body of the hyoid above the medial part of the mylohyoid muscle. Now second muscle, we have seen there is a stylohyoid muscle. This stylohyoid muscle is origin from posterior aspect of the styloid process, and it goes to the insertion on the junction of the body of the greater cornea of the hyoid bone. Now next muscle, you can see there is a digastric muscle. The digastric muscle, posterior belly and the anterior belly is there. This posterior belly, from the mastoid notch of the temporal bone, it goes towards the intermediate tendons. It forms the intermediate tendons and it runs anteriorly as the anterior belly of the digastric. From the anteriorly, the digastric fossa, the mandible, the anterior belly of the digastric runs and it forms the intermediate tendons, which goes towards the hyoid bone. Now this mylohyoid muscle, the mylohyoid line present inner surface of the mandible, it arises from this point and inserted on the posterior 1/4 of the fibers of this mylohyoid muscle into the body of the hyoid bone, and remaining anterior 3/4 of the fibers into the median raphe, which extend from the symphysis menti to the hyoid bone. So these are the muscles seen, this suprahyoid muscle. One more muscle, there is a genioglossus muscle. Yesterday we have seen there is extrinsic muscles of the tongue. It is one of these extrinsic muscles of the tongue. It comes from the superior mental spine of the mandible, and it has three fiber sets of muscles. That is a superior fiber muscle set, superior, inferior, and the intermediate fibers are there. So this, out of that, inferior fibers of the genioglossus muscle attached to the anterior superior surface of the body of the hyoid bone, adjacent to the midline via a thin aponeurotic process. The other muscle fibers, that is intermediate fibers of the genioglossus, extend posterior to the posterior aspect of the tongue, and the superior fiber transfers the entire ventral surface of the tongue from the base of its apex. Now this is a schematic diagram of the infrahyoid muscles. These are the muscle group below the hyoid bone, that is infrahyoid muscles. It is called the infrahyoid muscle group. This infrahyoid muscle group, it has superficial and the deep group is there. Under the superficial group, these two muscles are there, omohyoid muscle and the sternohyoid muscle is there. Again, this omohyoid muscle, there is a superior belly and the inferior belly is there, and the sternohyoid muscle is. In the group of the deep infrahyoid muscle, there is a thyrohyoid muscle, then sternothyroid muscle is present. Now in this diagram, you can see there is a superior group, omohyoid muscle and the sternohyoid muscle. These are the superficial group, and the deep group contains there is a thyrohyoid muscle and the sternothyroid muscle is there. See this superficial group, the strip of this sternohyoid muscle, that means the muscle goes from the sternum to the hyoid and the omohyoid belly. You can see here clearly. Now these are the two deep infrahyoid muscles, that is a thyroid muscle and sternothyroid muscle. You can see from the sternum to the thyroid and the thyroid to the hyoid bone. These are the muscle strip you can see in this diagram. Out of that, one of these muscle, that is a thyroid, which act when one is swallowing to elevate the larynx, so it can meet the epiglottis and the close of the airway, preventing one from choking on food or drink. Another one muscle, that is infrared group muscle, that is a sternothyroid. It does not attach to or involve the hyoid bone, but lowers the larynx again after the swallowing is completed, so that the breathing can reach. So again you can see there is a muscle attachment on the body and the greater cornea and the lesser cornea. We will see there in this diagram. Anterior surface of the body gives there is an insertion of the geniohyoid muscle in most part of the anterior surface of the body of hyoid bone. It extend both above and below the transverse ridge. A portion of origin of this hyoglossus notch is there. The lateral margin of the geniohyoid attachment, there is a notch for the origin of the hyoglossus muscle. Below you can see there is a below the transverse ridge, we see there is a mylohyoid, sternohyoid and omohyoid muscle insertion is there. So in this diagram you can see there is a geniohyoid insertion muscle, insertion of the geniohyoid muscle, and the below the transverse ridge there is a mylohyoid, sternohyoid and the omohyoid muscles. On the lesser cornea, there is attachment medial end of the middle constrictor muscle and the stylohyoid ligament attached to the lesser cornea. The attachment to this greater cornea, the middle constrictor and the hyoglossus muscle. On the body, we see there is a geniohyoid, genioglossus attached to the inner and the upper surface of the body. And the anterior surface of the hyoid bone, we see there is a mylohyoid muscle. Then we see there the tendon of the digastric muscle attached to the anterolateral portion of the body of the hyoid bone. we see there is a sternohyoid, omohyoid, and the thyrohyoid attached to the inferior surface of the body. Each muscle acts to depress the hyoid bone. Now there is an attachment of the ligaments. There is a one membrane and two ligaments are there. Thyrohyoid membrane, stylohyoid ligament, and hyoepiglottic ligament. See this thyrohyoid membrane, it originates from the superior border of the thyroid cartilage and attached to the posterior of the hyoid bone and the greater horn. So in this diagram, you can see anteriorly this upper border, superior border of the thyroid cartilage, and there is a thyroid membrane attached to the hyoid bone. Now see the hyoepiglottic ligament. It connects the hyoid bone to the anterior aspect of the epiglottis. It is extrinsic ligament of the larynx. The bilateral ligaments are collection of the fibrous tissue that responsible for the attaching the anterior and the lateral aspect of the epiglottis to the body and the greater cornea of the hyoid bone. So it is hyoepiglottic ligament. Then stylohyoid ligament. From the styloid process to the lesser cornea of the hyoid bone. This is stylohyoid ligament. It crosses inferiorly by the hyoglossus. The fibrous ligament, which is closely related to the lateral oropharyngeal wall, and it provides a point of the attachment for the middle pharyngeal constrictors and some fibers of the styloglossus. The ligament is derivative of the second brachial arc and may be calcified. Now see the brief of the development of the hyoid bone. The second pharyngeal arch, also it is called a hyoid arch. It is one of the 6 pharyngeal arches that develops in fetal life during the 4th week of the development. The ventral portion of the Richard's cartilage ossifies to form the lesser cornea and the upper part of the body of the hyoid bone. The cartilage of the 3rd pharyngeal arch forms the greater cornea of the hyoid and the lower portion of the body of the hyoid. Now see the fusion of the hyoid bone. That is interesting in forensic medicine. This interest in hyoid bone fusion in forensic science is related to the age and sex estimation. There is a role of fusion in fracture during the perimortem, strangulation, or other trauma. This fusion occurred earlier in females as compared to the male. The fusion of this hyoid bone, there are medico-legal importance. The first one, there is a fracture of the hyoid is more common in cases where the bone is fused. And secondly, attempts have been made to estimate age from hyoid fusion as a supplementary approach when other skeletal remains are not found. Now see the hyoid bone fracture. This hyoid bone fracture is commonly associated with strangulation and hangings. The fracture may be associated other factors. These are the road traffic accident, gunshot, knife wounds. Other are during the basketball, karate, martial arts, or ice hockey, where the falling assault. Also, men Again, there is a most important point. There is a severe omitting is also one more factor is there. It can be classified into inward compression fractures with outside periosteal tears, anterior-posterior compression fracture with inside periosteal tear, and avulsion fractures. Now in this schematic diagram, you can see this arrow are there. The arrow indicates there is a weak area of the hyoid bone which lead to the fracture. So you can see in this diagram. So symptoms of these fractures, there is a pain, there is a trouble in swallowing, painful swallowing, pain where the affected person rotate the neck or change in position, that time the pain occurs. If the hyoid bone fracture, there is a high likelihood to that the larynx, pharynx, mandible and or cervical spine may be injured is there. Now you can see there is a attachment of the deep cervical fascia, or in oldest text the word is there, fascia coli lies under the cover of the platysma, and it also forms the sheaths for the carotid vessels and for the structure situated in front of the vertebral column. The attachment of this deep cervical fascia to the hyoid bone, it prevents the formation of the dewlap. So dewlap is condition where the skin overhanging in front of the neck. Now see the ossification of the hyoid bone. It formed by cartilaginous ossification. It has 6 centers. One primary center is for gator cornea just before the birth, and 2 secondary center for the body soon after the birth. Lesser cornea at puberty. Here we can see there is a chondrocytes begins the process of the making the tissue cartilaginous. This is called a chondrification by the 5th week of intrauterine life. This chondrification process usually ends between the 3rd to 4th gestational month. Now for this hyoid bone surface marking, there is a 2 points are there. The chin is there. From the angle of the mandible 3 centimeter below, and there is a 1.5 centimeter outer to the midline. Connect these 2 lines for the surface marking. Now the palpation of the hyoid bone, you can palpate at the tip of the greater cornea with the fingers at the rest position, in a relaxed neck near the anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid muscle, midway between the laryngeal prominence and the mastoid process. Now there is the importance of this hyoid bone. In the suspected cases of murder, fracture of the hyoid bone strongly indicates throttling and strangulation. The other important is there, it forms the landmark for the ligation of the lingual artery during the surgery of the neck. And another important, there is a hyoid bone syndrome. We'll see this next slide. There is a tenderness at the site of the greater cornea of the hyoid bone. Now, clinical aspect of the hyoid bone. This hyoid bone syndrome, there is a condition where characterized by the both dental or non-dental referral sites. This degenerative injury of the middle pharyngeal constrictor muscle is confirmed by the photomicroscopic evidence of the insertion tendinosis. Another one clinical aspect regarding the hyoid bone, that is a dislocation of the hyoid bone, occurs when this bone is moved from its normal position in the throat. The common cause of this dislocation of the hyoid bone, there is a car accident, strangulation, and direct trauma to the neck. Then next condition of the hyoid bone, there is a clicking, is an abnormal condition of this hyoid bone, and the characteristic of it, there is an enlargement of greater cornea of the hyoid. The enlargement of cornea impinge on cervical vertebrae. It produces the intraosseous friction, that is clicking of the hyoid. Now radiological view or X-ray. In the X-ray, the hyoid bone is seen. This is a lateral X-ray of the neck region. We can see the chin of the mandible, base of the mandible, angle of the mandible above. The below one portion, we can see there is a body and the greater cornea. Also, the small portion you can see there is a lesser cornea is there. There is a labeled as a body, lesser cornea and the greater cornea. From the lateral view of the X-ray of the neck region, you can see this bony structure. This is CT image. You can see this CT. Normally the position of the hyoid bone at the rest, it is lies at the C4 level. You can see in the CT there is a hyoid bone is looks like. Now summary and important things regarding the hyoid bone. These are frequently asked in the Viva. There is a suprahyoid muscle group and the infrahyoid muscle group. There is suprahyoid muscle group. There is a digastric muscle. This digastric muscle, it has the anterior belly and the posterior belly. This anterior belly, origin of this anterior belly from the digastric fossa of the mandible, and insertion intermediate tendon of the digastric attached to the hyoid bone, and nerve supply of this anterior belly, mylohyoid nerve. The posterior belly of the digastric is origin of posterior belly is mastoid notch, and insertion intermediate tendons of the digastric attached to the hyoid bone and innervated by facial nerve. The next muscle of the suprahyoid muscle group, that is a geniohyoid. We have seen already this muscle origin from the interior of the mandible, from the mental spine or inferior of the mental spine of the symphysis, and inserted at the hyoid bone, and there is a nerve supply of the geniohyoid muscle is a C1 via the hypoglossal nerve. Then next muscle of the suprahyoid muscle, that is the stylohyoid muscle. This stylohyoid muscle origin from the temporal styloid process and inserted on the hyoid bone, and the nerve supply of this muscle is a facial nerve. Then mylohyoid muscle. This mylohyoid muscle origin from the mylohyoid line of the mandible. It goes and inserted on the hyoid bone, and the nerve supply of the mylohyoid nerve is there. Now in the table 2, you can see there is an infrahyoid muscle. The group of the infrahyoid muscle, that is a sternohyoid muscle. It is origin from the posterior surface of the mandible sterni, inserted on the medial part of the lower border of the hyoid bone, and the nerve supply from the ansa cervicalis. The second muscle of the infrahyoid muscle group, that is a sternothyroid, which is coming from the posterior surface of the manubrium sterni and inserted on oblique line of the thyroid cartilage, and nerve supplies ansa cervicalis. Next muscle, that is a thyrohyoid. It is oblique, coming from the oblique line of the thyroid cartilage. It is inserted on the lower border of the body and the greater cornea of the hyoid bone, and the nerve supplies C1 via the hypoglossal nerve. Then next muscle, that is a omohyoid muscle. It has superior belly and the inferior belly is there. The superior belly arises from the intermediate tendons and is inserted on the hyoid bone, and it is nerve supply of this superior belly is superior root of the ansa cervicalis. Omoid inferior belly is origin from superior border of the scapula and the insertion on the intermediate tendon of the omoid and nerve supply, that is a ansa cervicalis C1 to C3. Now these are the muscles which elevate the hyoid. These are the digastric muscle, stylohyoid muscle, mylohyoid muscle, and geniohyoid muscle is there. And these are the depressors of the hyoid, that is a sternohyoid, sternothyroid, omohyoid, and thyrohyoid muscle is there. So thank you.